You know, my daddy used to say, if you only got $10 and you're going down to the cat house, you better get the most bang for the buck. You get it? Bang for the buck. That's a good. I'm gonna have to run down and tell Floyd and the boys at the barber shop. Bang for the buck.
Bang for the buck.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Cinema Grotesque. Hello, I'm your host, Travis McKeithen. Along with me, the Icelandic giant known as...
Egil Andresson, or people call me Egil, or some people call me Death Turner.
Exactly.
Sometimes.
Exactly. So, yeah. So, Egil, today and this week, we watched a very special movie from my childhood. By the name of Body Slam. We already teased it last week. This is a movie starring Rowdy Roddy Piper, amongst other people. And,
Well, it's really starring Face Man from the A-Team.
yeah, Dirk Benedict.
Dirk Benedict.
Yep. So yeah, this is a movie about a down on his luck movie producer, or excuse me, music. Yeah,
music manager.
Exactly. Who pretty much is just he's a piece of shit, and he can't win. He constantly loses. He constantly gets shit on until he comes up with a brand new idea. So, yeah.
Accidentally stumbles upon.
There you go. Yeah, that's probably a much better way of putting it. A country bumpkin kind of gives him the way of figuring it out. But, of course, we're talking about Body Slam. It's a ridiculous movie from the late 80s, one that I have adored for a considerable period of time.
Which I don't get. Like, this didn't even get a theatrical release. This was sort of, somebody fucked up, and it eventually got put out on VHS.
Yeah, pretty much. This one was, it was probably meant for some type of small theatrical release, but in all honesty, this movie doesn't deserve a theatrical release. I love this movie, but
no.
I still respect the fact that it's not that good of a movie. So yeah, needless to say,
this is though directed by Hal Needham.
Yeah, which give us a little bit of background.
Has done like amazing movies, all of which would be a more enjoyable watch than this. I mean, we could have watched fucking Megaforce, which is one of my favorite.
It is a good one. Yeah, I think it's
we
too
could have watched Rad about like radical BMX biking.
Oh, I am going to watch that either way, but
like I think even Stroker Ace would have been better. At least that has fucking Burt Reynolds.
Yeah, that's true. You can always use a little bit more Burt Reynolds in your life. But we don't this week. We have other mustaches to talk about. And this is, just a fun time, ultimately, as far as I'm concerned. I think Egil would definitely disagree.
God damn it. So,
No,
Travis,
yeah.
what is it with you and movies with protagonists who are unrelenting and unapologetic assholes? Last movie you picked was Freaked, who also had an unapologetic, unrelenting asshole protagonist.
Yeah, but the big difference is he kind of had a shining light by the end of the movie. Not in this one. The guy's a prick throughout the entire movie.
Just a fucking horrible person.
Yeah, pretty much. He really has no redeeming moral or social values at all. And
he has a nice smile, and his outfits are pretty amazing.
Yeah, he dresses very nicely.
He's a sharply dressed man.
Sharp dressed man, as ZZ Top would say. I think that's the right group. Sure. But yeah, I don't know. It's something about the 80s. It was the Reagan era. I mean, everything was about money and power and making your own way and blah, blah, blah.
Being a dick.
Exactly. Be a dick to poor people. It'll make the world work out all right. And as we see, that's not the case. But no, so yeah, it opens up. We pretty much open up the movie. He's a douchebag. He's in a very expensive vehicle. You might know what it is. I don't.
Ferrari.
There you go. A Ferrari, a very expensive car. Not just now, but especially for the time.
Yeah.
That he was in, and of course
it has a car phone even.
Exactly, for 1987. 1986.
This was probably shot way before that.
Probably before the release. Yeah. But yeah, it had an official release of 1986. So yeah, we'll go from there.
But yeah, and he even uses it to try and impress a hot girl in a bikini, just standing on the middle of the street.
Exactly. Yeah, I believe this movie is supposed to be taking place in Los Angeles.
Probably.
So yeah, he pretty much goes down to one of the major beaches, and a super hottie chick is all getting up and approaching him, or what appears to be approaching him in the car. So he's all pretending to be important and takes this car phone up and pretends like he's talking. And then, of course, the hot bikini babe just walks right by him into the arms of an old 80s stud. So that kind of disappoints him a little bit.
One of the few moments in the movie where he gets his comeuppance.
Yeah, that is true. He doesn't really pay for the majority of his sins in this movie at all. He's actually rewarded most of the time. So yeah, pretty much next thing, obviously he needs to go see his lawyer. For what reason, we don't know, but let's go ahead and do that. He pulls up.
Because everything is fucked with him.
Pretty much, yeah. He's always in some bad situation. So he pulls up to the valet to have the guy take his car, and he's a prick about it. Oh, make sure you don't go too fast. Make sure you don't do this, that, whatever. Then when he gets out of the car, the valet gets in. He is handed the fact that he hasn't paid his fucking car bill for his expensive-ass car, and he's getting it repoed. So there you go. There's the second time he kind of got shit on in the movie. It doesn't happen much more.
The beginning is the best about that. About he is just a terrible asshole, and he deserves everything that comes his way.
Yeah, so needless to say...
Also, the opening track, it's such a terrible Wham wannabe song.
I love it. God. It's the title track, of course. It's called Body Slam, because that's the name of the movie. And that's amazing. I mentioned this a few episodes ago, that I absolutely adore it whenever movies, especially from the 80s, use a song that has the name of the movie into it. It's just, I don't know, stupid.
Is the band in this movie is called The Kicks to begin with, and then they shorten it to Kick?
I think it showed both of them as far as that goes. But as
I think once they got big, they were like, oh, The Kick, that's better.
Exactly, and there's a bad joke about that later on in the movie.
Yeah, so is that a real band or...
To the best of my knowledge, it's not. I did a little bit of research just to see if I could find anything. The music was done by a separate band, which I couldn't find out for sure who it was, but it definitely wasn't the people actually in the movie.
That band, of course, should be ashamed.
Look, they had a couple of good songs. We'll get to that here shortly. In my opinion, at least. So yeah, he goes to see his lawyer, who happens to be working out or something.
So he gets into his lawyer's office, and his lawyer's there with aerobics instructor lady, who is just giant of a woman.
Oh yeah, she's a Viking
very
for
attractive.
Sure.
But yeah, so she towers over both Dirk Benedict and the lawyer.
Yeah.
And like any good fitness instructor, she is wearing spandex, leggings, leg warmers because it's the fucking 80s.
Yep.
And pumps.
Yep. And pretty much her entire ass is out for the most part. That's spandex thong that she's wearing. Because, pretty much her entire ass is out. There's no other types of nudity in this movie, but you pretty much see full ass in this scene.
Well, full spandex clad ass.
There you go. Close enough.
For what that is worth.
I'll take what I can get, honestly.
But I just love the fact that she's wearing pumps because it's the 80s.
And that's how you do aerobics, really. That's the only way you can do it properly.
If you're a woman.
Exactly. Men, no.
Put on those pumps.
Yeah.
Pop out that ass.
Men can obviously do aerobics in a 3-piece suit because that's what his fucking lawyer's in when they walk into the room.
So we get into it. This Dirk Benedict is like way in over his head. His car's been taken away. He owes money to some Korean holdings company or loans company.
Yep.
And like he's fucked. He needs his lawyers to unfuck him. And well, while they're explaining how fucked it is, I love this. Like there's this scene. He's like, and you this and this, and then it just cuts into an ADR sentence in the middle of the scene, which is so blatantly ADR'd.
Which is the first of quite a few in this movie. They
Well, yeah, but like in the middle of like a monologue almost.
Pretty much, yeah. You would think that they would have just ADR'd the entire thing, but no, they're like, this is good enough here. Where he starts yelling obscenities and Tourette's, let's just cut out that bit, whatever possibly happened. But yeah, just very, very obvious ADR in this part as well as through quite a bit more of this movie.
But yeah, that was like, I was so taken out of it when it just cuts out, and you owe money to these Koreans.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, as I said, yeah, pretty much it just, it feels awkward. The dialogue is stunted. And even though the acting is decent, I mean, Dirk plays he's an asshole.
He's Faceman. He knows how to play a slimy asshole.
Exactly. So good on him.
Unlike Faceman, he has no redeeming qualities.
Yeah, that's true. But then, yeah, so ultimately...
So, yeah, he needs his lawyer to unfuck him. So he's like, okay, I'll unfuck you if you do me this one favor. You're in the music business. You're a music manager. Like, I'm having this fundraiser for this politician who's a douchebag.
Yep.
You gotta fill the fundraiser with great bands.
Mm-hmm. And he's like, oh, okay, I could do that because you're going to give me money. You're going to get me out of this fucked up situation that I'm currently in as far as not getting fully bankrupt, essentially.
Oh, yeah. So that's the deal. That's where this whole thing kicks off. And it gets... it takes its sweet fucking time to get... like, the whole subplot about, like, this fundraiser... Yeah. They cut to it like, like every third other scene. And the movie just screeches to a halt every time.
Yeah, there's at least 3 different scenes to where he shows up in front of all these rich people and the politicians, and it's literally like, and who are you going to have? Oh, we're going to have the best acts you've ever seen before in your life. Who are they? Well, they're the best people. They literally do this 3 times.
Yeah, they do. It's like, oh, and like that's the excuse to get Tanya Roberts into this movie,
which isn't a bad thing.
Well, I mean, I like the fact that this is the second movie in a row to feature an actress from a Roger Moore Bond movie.
Yep, and they're just playing the hot chick, and that's all they need to do is, well, pretty much. Yeah, I mean, and because that's the only role she plays.
Why is any woman in a Bond film?
Well, that's true. Bond hasn't had a female evil villain, have they?
No.
They need to do that. They need to get with the times. When Idris Elba plays Bond, I'll watch it.
Well, I mean, Judi Dench. They have Judi Dench.
Well, there you go. That's good enough.
There we go. I mean, she's hot, but she's not there to be hot.
True. Very true. So cool. So yeah, ultimately, as I said, yeah, once again, he gets strung into this thing to where he's going to make this amazing show so this politician can have a better chance of getting elected, I guess.
Or get more money.
Yeah, exactly. A fundraising situation.
Yeah. So, of course, now he has no car because it was repoed.
Exactly.
And he has to fix that. And who does he go to see? Fucking John Astin is in this movie.
Yep, Gomez himself.
What did John Astin do after the Addams Family to deserve this career?
Well, he really never did that much after the Addams Family.
I know, but he's brilliant.
Oh, he is. He's absolutely amazing. I'd say the the only person who's done it better was Raul Julia in the remakes or the movies.
But Raul Julia was clearly riff on John Astin.
Of course, I mean he worked with the same character profile that was initially set up with John Astin, which he does have an amazing screen presence.
Yeah, and the biggest thing after the Addams Family has been like this and the Killer Tomatoes franchise.
Oh, such a good franchise, though.
Did they make a number 3? They did, didn't they?
Yes, there was Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, Return of the Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, and Return of the Attack of the Killer Tomatoes 2, I believe, or Revenge of the, because George Clooney was in 1.
Yeah, no, he wasn't 2.
Okay, 2, yeah.
He was in Return.
Yep.
I think like the third one was, at least according to 2, supposed to be The Tomatoes Take France or something like that.
I think that was kind of the teaser at the end of it. I don't think that actually was in.
They didn't follow through on that.
Yeah, we'll do some more Attack of the Killer Tomatoes research and get back to you next time. I want to rewatch this because those are amazing.
So, yeah, he comes home in the brand new car he fucking swindled out of Gomez Adams. He promises him Springsteen tickets.
Yeah, and
I'm going to get you tickets to Springsteen if you borrow me a car. And he's like, okay, well, I'm at least going to hold on to the tickets. So he takes the tickets, and Dirk or Smilek is his name in this movie.
M. Henry Smilek.
Which is just the fucking greasiest name ever.
Really
Anybody
who's listening to this, if you use an initial for the first part of your name, you're kind of a shithead. Sorry.
You're either a writer or a shithead.
Yeah, possibly a baron, but there's not too many barons anymore.
So he then like, I've got the tickets to Springsteen, and he looks at him, and it's for a Jewish yodeling concert.
Exactly. Which, in all honesty, I'd prefer to see over Springsteen, but well, I have interesting taste.
But why is there a Jewish yodeling concert, and why does Smilek have tickets for it?
I would have to imagine that managers get like constant free tickets to like shit shows so they can sign on new talent and stuff like that. So it's probably something like that. It was this.
Well, I mean, I don't think like there's such a demand for Jewish yodeling that you would have to sell tickets in advance. Put up a poster.
It was the 80s. There might have been a huge underground Jewish yodeling thing going on.
It was a hardcore scene.
Exactly, like how hip hop is now. They would.
I'm just thinking about the scene from 8 Mile, but with Jewish people yodeling.
Oh, I want to see that now. Oh, off to Kickstarter after this episode. But so, no.
Yeah. So continuing with just the play, like and next scene just starts just the amazing, like, this movie does not give a fuck about any sort of like, it doesn't give a fuck about offending fucking anyone.
Oddly enough, a lot of racism, a lot of homophobia, not too much sexism though, surprisingly, for the 80s.
For the 80s, okay, but still plenty of it.
Well, you know.
And also ableism towards little people.
Oh yeah, quite a bit of that in a certain part.
It's like it's going for a combo high score.
You might as well at that point in time.
So yeah, it was mentioned like he owes a Korean loans company money. So this Korean gentleman comes to collect along with 2 very large Samoan bodyguards.
Exactly, which I believe were wrestlers.
They were wrestlers.
Okay, you did the research.
Yeah, they were wrestlers. I think they were called the Wild Samoans.
Okay, there we go.
So he comes to collect the money, and he introduces himself. I am from corrections. You know, because Asians pronounce R and L the same way. Ha, funny. Ha, ha, funny.
Look, it was the 80s. That wasn't even racism at that point in time. You had to come out and straight up call people racial epithets for it to be racist. That point in time, that was just, look at the funny Chinaman.
And it doubles down on that racism because, like, hey, I don't know how you guys do it in Japan. Like, you already said they were Koreans. You were just doing this to be an asshole.
Pretty much, yeah. He's just being very culturally insensitive just
And
because
then, like, the
he
Korean
can.
guy is like, no, I'm Korean. It's not the same. He's like, whatever.
Yeah.
Fucking people.
True dickhead, but as I said, once again, the 80s, that's totally not racist, surprisingly enough. So, yeah, needless to say, they want to get their money back. He's being a piece of shit, obviously, so he takes this
in his defense, like, they did go to court, and the court ruled towards him on a technicality, but, I mean, as far as the law is concerned, he doesn't owe them money, so he should just call the police, because they fucking vandalize his car.
Not only vandalize, they just literally rip pieces off of his car.
They just rip it apart, these two huge Samoan dudes.
Yeah, so, needless to say, that goes on, and
that becomes a running gag in the movie.
It happens,
There's never, like, I should call the police, because I am being physically threatened, and my property and other people's property is being destroyed.
Well, there's definitely a handful of situations of true violence in this movie that is never reported. It's just constantly people getting beat up for real. I mean, obviously at this point in time, I don't think it was a widely known thing that professional wrestling was fake or aspects of it were fake. So,
well, I mean, at this point, they still had the facade.
Exactly.
No, I mean, they still, they still like totally held character and no, it's totally real. Yeah. I read about that Kirk, was it Kirk?
Angle?
Oh, what, Face Man.
Oh, Dirk.
What is he called? Dirk?
M. Henry Smilek.
Dirk Benedict.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Dirk Benedict, he didn't know that wrestling was fake until he did this movie.
God, he was probably really scared shitless in some of these scenes. Which, hey.
Well, I mean, so
method
we
acting.
are then introduced. So he goes to some dude to his office because of the whole benefit thing or fundraising thing.
Yeah, he goes in to try to work with another essentially manager type person to where he can get some more bands going on, so he doesn't fuck himself when it comes to this benefit thing. And obviously, this manager guy that he goes to meet is very busy.
Well, I mean, why is he talking to Roddy Piper? This is where we are introduced to Roddy Piper.
Exactly. This is where there's a lot of confusion for me as well. It seems like something they kind of skipped over.
Yeah, they're like, oh, Roddy Piper's there. They have to meet.
Because they're making it out to where this guy that they're going to visit is rather a promoter or a manager, and I'm not sure which one it is, because Roddy Piper's asking for more money, the ability to do something, because he is a wrestler in this movie as well.
Yeah.
Not like they live to where he's homeless.
He's not managed by this guy.
No, he's managed by Captain Lou. Why does he go by in this one? It's so ridiculous.
Yeah, it's Captain Lou something not albino.
Yeah, it's a Malbino. They just changed one letter.
It's just some other Italian name.
Exactly. So yeah, for the most part,
just why even go through that trouble? Like,
they needed to find some way for them to meet up, and they were just being, you know what, fuck it. Just write him in. He's coming in this place for whatever reason.
Like he's talking to a dude.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's just, it makes no sense, but just go with it.
And Smilek sort of weasels his way into a meeting between these two guys and just starts out of the blue managing for him and playing hardball with the dude.
Exactly. Oh, you shouldn't accept that much money. You should get more money, and you should get a dressing room, and you should get this, that, whatever. So, Roddy Piper's character, I'm pretty sure, is supposed to be a complete fucking idiot in this movie. Like he's not intelligent at all.
He's supposed to be like good-hearted and hardworking, but he's a wrestler. He doesn't need to do math a lot.
Exactly.
Let's just say, and he gets hit in the head a lot for his job. So
he just has to worry about chewing bubble gum and kicking ass, and he's all out of bubble gum.
So what the fuck is up with Roddy Piper's hair in this movie?
The only thing I can imagine is they didn't have any hair and makeup. Because it was just like somebody gave him a bowl cut.
It's like a mix between someone just putting a wet mop on someone's head and like early Justin Bieber.
Pretty much. I mean, he had nice feathered long hair in They Live. When he was a wrestler, he had a standard gentleman's haircut. But yeah, this one was just very strange. I don't know.
Yeah, it was terrible. I mean, he has nice hair.
Yeah, it's not bad at all.
That haircut was terrible. Like it was like not full mullet because like he had all the hair in his sides.
Yeah.
But his front was completely cut.
I don't know. Kind of. I maybe it was a possible character decision because he did look like kind of like a doughboy guy from the farm and stuff like that. He didn't look like your typical wrestler. So maybe it was for that reason that they intentionally gave him something a little bit less attractive. We'll say.
Yeah, a lot more innocent.
Exactly. So
because he was like supposed to be super babyface.
Yeah,
that's a wrestling term.
Exactly, it actually is. I looked that up.
Captain Lou and like they fucking broker a deal together, and Roddy Piper's like, "Hey, you're really good. Like, how do you do a lot of managing?" And it's like, "Yeah, I do a lot of managing." And so he sort of signs on as his manager without even knowing that he's in wrestling.
Yeah, he thinks that Roddy Piper's a rock and roll guy or something when he signs him without knowing any fucking thing about him. Until we get introduced for the first time, really the best part of this movie, which is Captain Lou Albino. I mean, he is.
I have to be honest. I liked Captain Lou a lot better when he was Cyndi Lauper's father or Super Mario.
Captain Lou is Captain Lou, I think, and that was the best thing about him. He didn't have a character. That was just what he was.
That was just him. That was his wrestling persona.
Exactly. I think when he did Mario, he might have been on sedatives because he wasn't quite as hype up. But otherwise, yeah, that was just Captain Lou Albino, one of the best entertainers in wrestling, and definitely in this movie.
He was a manager in wrestling, and what that usually means, it doesn't mean that they actually, handle the business aspect. It means that they are on the microphone for their client.
Exactly, or outside the ring, and
some wrestlers are great at microphone work, like Roddy Piper and Macho Man, your Hulk Hogan's, your Ultimate Warriors, great on the mic. Some others. Not so really good.
No.
So when that happened, like they were good wrestlers, they looked good, couldn't talk for shit. So that's when they paired him with a manager who would do the shit talking for them.
Exactly. Who was very talented. I mean, you had people, that were actually also in this movie. Classy Freddie Blassie, Jimmy Hart, the Mouth of the South. I mean, these people with these outrageous...
Paul Bearer.
Yeah, Paul Bearer. They have these outrageous personalities that really shine through, but they don't have the bodies to actually be wrestlers. So it kind of works out where they fill out the area. Same thing with Captain Lou. Captain Lou was a big, imposing man, but he was definitely not a wrestler.
Like, he's not gonna fucking, do any body slams.
No.
Power bombs.
Wouldn't be a good idea. He'd probably break something.
So I'm just still baffled by they call him Captain Lou. Yeah. They twice say his last name. Why isn't it just Captain Lou Albino?
Yeah, it was Captain Lou Morano in this movie. Where
why?
If you're going to go through that whole situation, that was even some of the wrestlers that are in here, and they use a different name for them. I was like, yeah, you're going after a very specific group of people with these movies. wrestling fans. I mean, they know who these people are. If you're going to do it so close, just go ahead and stick with the fucking person's real name.
Especially for the wrestlers, though, like the Iron Sheik, who cameos, and the $1 Million Man, and like that. Those are actually trademarked by the Wrestling Federation.
Oh, that is true. Yeah, at that point in time, but I could use them.
but they call Captain Lou. I mean, that's his wrestling name. It's not.
Yeah, that's kind of a fucked up situation if you use your real name.
It's a really stupid technicality that they got off on, because, like, that was the whole thing when The Rock stopped being The Rock and became Dwayne Johnson. That was because, like, he left the WWE and couldn't use The Rock anymore.
Exactly. Which people obviously still call him The Rock, but it doesn't matter.
I mean, he then went back to the WWE and they worked out a deal, and now he can be Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Or the one that I actually love the most about that, since we're talking about wrestling, is Chyna. And all the porn that she did where she couldn't spell China the same way they spelled China when she was a wrestler. they had like 4 different ways they spelled it. One time it was with a Y, sometimes it was with an X, and something else.
Yeah.
It was just absolutely ridiculous. One night in China. It's great. I did watch that.
She was a good She-Hulk, though, I have to say.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
Legitimately
I
good.
mean, she was probably amazing in bed. We're getting off topic.
I'm not gonna touch that.
I'm getting a boner. Let's move on to more of the movie.
So yeah, this is when we were introduced to Tanya Roberts, and this is one of those scenes where he goes to the rich asshole's place, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm like, I got all the people. We're doing a great show." Like, lies through his teeth.
Yeah, don't ask me who, but we're gonna have a bunch of really big people there.
Just lies through his teeth mercilessly.
Yep.
And like the woman who's like running the campaign for the senator, I think, is the woman who they're always going to, and Tanya Roberts is her daughter.
Yep.
And so Smilek like immediately just oozes his way to her. Like, he has the fucking mouth freshener spray and everything.
Yeah, total douchebag.
And like, we should mention that like he has the worst fake tan in this movie.
Yeah, he is just a weird shade of orange
Dirk
the entire
Benedict.
time.
It's just so painful to watch him.
Something tells me that's not necessarily just his character. I believe that's who he is.
Probably.
He plays it so well, and in this movie where acting isn't, the most important thing.
It's entirely optional.
Yeah. So I have all ideas. That is him. It was just a producer like, I know a guy that's perfect for this. He's a total piece of shit.
They talk to, he slimes over to Tony Robbins like, "Hey, you could be a star. Have you thought about modeling? Why don't you come and suck my dick?"
Yeah, a little bit more subtle, but not much more subtle than
Not
that.
much, but yeah, Tony Robbins just blows him off. So like, "You're a fucking creep."
Yeah, as she should.
So then we cut to Piper's character, and what we haven't talked about Piper is that, like, when we were introduced to Piper, his niece was waiting in the waiting room, and Smilek attempted to have a conversation with him, but very clever girl. She saw that he was a fucking piece of shit. Said, like, "I'm not going to talk to you. You're a stranger, and this could only lead to bad things."
Exactly. So fuck you. Go on about your business.
But yeah, his little niece just follows Roddy Piper everywhere. Every scene Roddy Piper is in, his niece is in that scene.
Including locker rooms.
Including locker rooms and like including across the road in America.
Yeah.
Where are her parents?
That which is never once breached in this entire movie. It's just, this is my niece, and we hang out. And
this is my niece. I kidnapped her from her heroin binging parents.
So maybe there's a subplot in this one as well that we need to discover. Is Roddy Piper a pedophile in this movie?
No, he's way too nice for that.
Well, that's how they get you, man.
That in a heartbeat.
That's how they get you, man. They sneak up. They pretend to be really nice guys. No, actually, he doesn't have a mustache, so he can't be a pedophile. Never mind.
No,
it's got to be something more devious.
Yeah, he's a simpleton, and he's just taking care of his niece for some reason. I would suspect more that like his parents are, what was it, 85? So they are probably not cocaine because that cost money.
I would just say straight up dead, like car crash dead, and they just never feel like talking about it. Her parents are just totally dead.
I like how it's in just Smilek's character that he never fucking thinks about it. Like, where is these girls' parents? No, he doesn't give a shit.
Well, he's a egoist. I mean, he's so much more worried about himself than everybody else. It could have been like a horribly mistreated little girl, and he probably still wouldn't have noticed.
Yeah. So they're at the gym. Rowdy Roddy Piper and his friend, who's played by Sam Fatou.
Yeah, who has
what was his wrestler name in that?
It kind of sounded racist as far as that goes. It was kind of like essentially calling him Ooga Booga, but it was that's what it sounded. Tonga Tom.
Tonga Tom.
Yeah, it wasn't meant to be, but it's like, oh, he's a wild Samoan guy, so we're gonna call him Tonga Tom.
Well, Tonga is a Polynesian kingdom, so it will be like American Joe.
Okay, I gotcha. I used to watch wrestling where everybody had a racist name if they weren't white, so
yeah,
it's all right. So yeah,
the samurai.
So we got Tonga Tom. He's obviously BFFs with Rowdy Roddy Piper. They're in the gym.
And, like, I have to say, Sam Fatou's delivery is amazing in this movie.
Yeah, if you thought that Rowdy Roddy Piper wasn't too bright, he's dumber. Much dumber.
Like, I'm going to skip ahead a bit. They get sent into a hospital, Roddy Piper and Tonga Tom, Sam Fatou. They get sent to the hospital later in this movie, and we like come into the hospital, and his niece is reading a comic book to Tonga Tom.
Yep.
So, am I supposed to believe that Tonga Tom is illiterate?
He is. I'm pretty sure he is, and he's so blown away by the story as well, which this is just such a bland story. There's nothing interesting about it. It's like, oh, really? What's going to happen next?
I got all the death rays, said Professor Gangrene.
Yeah.
Like that level of comic book, and Tonga Tom is so into it. I felt... Oh my God, that was so horrible.
But no, let's get back to the present because we're about to be introduced.
To
these guys
my
are great.
favorite characters in this movie.
Managed by Captain Lou Albino.
We have the tag team world champions.
Exactly.
Axe and Hammer, also known as the Cannibals.
Oh, these guys are great because they are so 80s wrestling. They're so over the top in all of their delivery.
And their relationship is so romantic.
Yeah, they are definitely lovers as well.
So, yeah, I mean, like, they come in and like, oh, you're not with Captain Lou anymore? He doesn't like that, so we're going to threaten you with violence. And they laugh together.
Yeah.
And then, like, they and every scene they're in, almost they end by just putting their arms around each other's shoulders and walking off laughing, just so tender.
They're going to fuck every time. It's just
they want to walk off camera and just make out.
Yeah,
they're so cute.
I would have loved to seen that. That should have been in the director's cut. But yeah, it is this whole 80s macho type. Yeah, we're the bad guys.
The heels.
Yeah, we're the bad guys.
That's what we in wrestling call heel.
Exactly. You just said we.
And, they are amazing at what they do.
Oh yeah, they're absolutely wonderful to watch as far as I guess because they are so obviously the bad guys.
They can generate some heat.
Oh yeah, and they do quite often with massage oils in the back.
Yes, they are constantly just lathered up in oil.
But yeah, after that threat and pretty much Smilak getting shit scared again.
So yeah, no, we have to talk about Smilex just comes and talks to Roddy Piper and is like, "Hey, this is my friend Tomoa Joe," or
Tonga Tom.
Tonka Tom, Tomoa Joe. No, this is my friend Tonka Tom, and just immediately Smilex takes advantage of this poor simple man who
Very
is
simple.
illiterate.
Yeah. And just not bright.
Takes him into a back room and fucking just tears the shirt off his back, probably.
Probably
He
so.
is ripping them off so hard.
Yeah, asking for like an incredible amount of money up front without doing anything. I think he asked $700 from Roddy Piper and $600 from Tonga Tom.
And and they are so happy with him.
They're super happy. Like,
Because
they must have.
This is so true to life, because in that time wrestlers were getting paid shit compared to the managers.
Oh, of course, yeah. I mean, that's kind of how it still is, even in most professional sports. But yeah, especially wrestling, to where it's like
wrestlers just got so fucked in the 80s. If you want to learn more about that, watch the documentary Beyond the Mat.
That's a good one.
It's actually just heart-wrenching to watch these people have like spent all of their lives just being super great at wrestling. Yeah, wrestling stupid, whatever. They are great at it.
Yeah, I mean, if nothing else, I mean, it's gymnasium or gymnast for men. I mean, it's very aggressive.
It's ballet for rednecks.
There you go. Yeah, exactly, and it's fun.
I mean,
whether you like it or not, it's fun seeing people jump off ropes and landing on each other, and very homoerotic and amazing.
Yeah, and they got so fucking the raw end of the deal. I mean, some did all right, like Hulk Hogan, but like that's only like the mainest of the main eventers.
Exactly.
So yeah, check out Beyond the Mat if you want to learn how fucking horrible wrestling is.
Exactly.
And this movie is very true to that. Smilex just fucking fleeces these dudes left and right.
Yeah, because it seems like they got it even worse from Captain Lou.
Yeah, they got it even worse with Captain Lou.
So yeah, they were very happy to leave his service, so to speak. But yeah, needless to say, he's got Tonga Tom signed on, he's got Roddy Piper signed on, and Roddy Piper says, "Oh man, well we can get you on a TV show now." And obviously he doesn't want to do it. Oh, it's the top-rated sports show, talk show. It's like, well, fuck it. In that case, yeah, I'm definitely going to do that, make some money, and be an egotistic prick.
Yeah.
So this is...
I mean, it's exposure, so he can sign on more wrestlers.
Exactly. And this
Which he never does in this movie.
No, not at all. This next scene might be my favorite one in the entire movie, though.
Oh, my God. I was so fucking shocked. Like, oh, wow. They just went there. They went there head on.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It was just, let's go ahead and get
this
into
is they introduced the show. This like super cliche sports talk show host.
Yeah,
which why is that even a cliche? How is that a cliche? But this very John Madden type of dude introduces the show. It's the manager special, and he calls in 3 managers, which is Captain Lou, the old pro. With Smilex, the new guy, and then this is probably gonna make me look bad, but I didn't catch the third one's name. He's the specialist.
Exactly, he's a wrestling specialist in that situation.
He's a manager specialist.
Exactly.
He handles all the little people in wrestling, which still to this day is quite a lot of.
Yeah, and in all honesty, it might be a little bit. It's bad, but it's really entertaining to watch. It's wrestling.
I mean, hey, those dudes should wrestle if they want to wrestle.
Exactly. I mean, they can make money just like everybody else.
Yeah. But yeah, he is also a little person, and they just go straight into jokes about little people.
Oh yeah, I mean everything.
Like, yeah, I can't wait for you to tell me the long and the short of it.
Yeah, it's just constant. I mean, they're very, very cheap jokes at the expense of the little person.
Which, I mean, but I mean, he does take to it kindly and just beats him with a cane.
Yeah, I mean, in all honesty, the little guy is a badass. I mean, he doesn't take any shit at all. He's kind of He's kind of got like the gnarled voice and is like, I ain't gonna take shit from anybody. Kind of a little Willem Dafoe, I think.
Yeah. I ain't gonna take no shit, fucking midget jokes.
So yeah, and there I'll let you go into this one because you write it so well in the doc.
Okay, so I was like, Captain Lou and the little guy straight on turn against Smilek
Immediately,
and he's like, yeah, he's from the music business. Yeah, they're faggots. Says
Just-
like the little man, and
yeah.
just straight off, like, and the audience starts chanting the word faggot.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, an audience member has a sign that says faggot.
Who happens to be a little person as well.
Happens to be a little person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was, I mean, once again, late 80s, the term faggot was used a lot more commonly because homosexuality wasn't as accepted in America. So it was a funnier insult back then. So we got to give it that at least.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You know.
The little manager, that's all he said for like about 3 minutes. Every time they went to him, he's just faggot.
Yeah.
Every single time. Because,
Whoa.
yeah, Smilek is from the music industry, so obviously he is a homosexual.
He likes sucking penis.
Yeah.
That's what music people do.
And that's what you do to people who are homosexual is yell faggot at them
yeah,
constantly.
Oh, God damn it. So, yeah, we went from just ableism towards little people straight into homophobia.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that's what happens when
Just
you
didn't skip a beat.
when you make midget jokes, they're going to turn on you and be homophobic. I think is how that works out.
Well, I mean, to his defense, it wasn't even him doing, like, he showed him no disrespect.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that is true. It is just.
I mean, yeah, he's like an asshole in this whole movie, but that was the one time he had a chance to be a horrible person, but didn't take it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I wouldn't say that he went out of his way to be a prick there. It's just he was the new guy, and people don't like the new guys coming in and changing how they do things.
Yeah, after that, like, oh, we better go to commercials because, like, they were just losing the crowd.
Yeah.
Which included nuns,
Bikers,
bikers,
and
a little person
holding
who
a
held
faggot
the
sign.
Like, does he take that to every taping? Is that just that common?
I would like just think that that's his job. Is he just shows up at different TV shows daily?
Somebody's going to say the word.
Yeah, somebody's eventually going to say faggot. Then I'm going to hold up this sign and do my job. I'm doing the Lord's work here.
So yeah, they're just cut to commercial break, and then just Captain Lou throws the set is a ring.
Yeah.
Or a squared ring, the squared circle, as they call it. And Captain Lou just throws Smilek over the top rope.
Yeah,
That's how that scene ends.
Exactly. Yeah, there are a bunch of
there's-
weird cuts in this movie. That's one thing I'll
Yeah.
say. Like, it never gives you the money shot necessarily. It leads up to something, and then something happens off screen, and then it cuts to the next scene. Which in this case is just fucking Smilek getting out of a car wearing a neck brace. So obviously he got hurt quite a bit.
Yeah. So, and again, like, I just don't understand this movie. As, like, are we supposed to sort of like this unrelenting, smarmy asshole?
I
Like,
kind
is
of,
he supposed to be like a dashing rogue?
I kind of think so. But once again, I don't know if enough time was put into it to where it could really be fleshed out. But yeah, I think that he is supposed to be kind of a somewhat anti-hero protagonist, but he doesn't do that good of a job of it.
No, I mean, he flat out kills a person in this movie.
Yeah, kind of.
I mean, we go back to the hospital scene, which is coming up, but for the sake of this argument, we go to the hospital scene. He is again hurt from another incident involving wrestling. So he goes to the hospital to see Roddy Piper and Sam Fatu. And he's like wearing a neck brace and got crutches this time.
Yeah.
And there's a guy in a wheelchair there. He walks past him. They have a little something happens. I forget what. wasn't really interesting. But then he just, pats the guy in the wheelchair on the back, which then leads to the wheelchair moving forward and rolling just head on into traffic.
Yeah, like massive traffic and
and you could just hear a crash and see a busted ass wheelchair. Like, he is dead. He is dead because of Smilac.
Yeah, but I'd say it's manslaughter at best. I mean, it's not like he planned it.
No, he's not a murderer, but he still killed a disabled person.
Well, yes, but it was the 80s. It was a simpler time back then. You could do that, nobody blinked an eye.
So I wanted to go to the hospital scene because I didn't want to go back to the fucking scene at the stupid fundraiser plot.
Yeah.
Which, again, the same thing happens. And
the only
he goes
thing that
and
changes is what's her name actually starts falling for him now.
Well, I mean,
for some reason.
Again, I don't know why we're supposed to like this dude, apparently.
Yeah. It seems that way.
Yeah, but he feigns physical pain in order to get sympathy and to trick this Tanya...
Yeah, her last name was Vanderbilt in the movie. Tanya Roberts? No, that's
Tanya
not
Roberts. Yeah. Tanya Roberts. Because I was upset that she wasn't Eric Roberts and Julia Roberts' sister.
Gotcha.
But he feigns physical pain in order to get sympathy. And in order to trick her into getting into this jacuzzi with him.
Yep. Pretty much, yeah. I mean, everything from getting a ride home because his neck hurts too bad, which he doesn't have a car.
His neck and back.
Yeah. And then once they actually get to his home, it's she's not getting out of the car until he feigns like falling over and like
my back. My back.
But before anything sexy can happen, we need to bring back the old racial stereotype.
I mean, like, this movie is basically 5 scenes repeated over and over.
It is kind of true, actually.
Because the fucking Asian guy and the 2 Samoan bodyguards come back, wreck his car again, but this time it's
her
not
car.
Yeah, they wreck her car, which somehow they are upset at Smilac for.
Yeah.
Even though he had nothing to do with it, and they should just call the police, and they should be insured for this.
Should be, but this was the 80s. It was a different time. I feel like I'm just going to give that excuse every time it doesn't make sense.
I'm not gonna. Yeah, I'm not fucking. I'm not letting you get away with that. Oh God, yeah. That happens again, and it just cuts away.
Yep. Pretty much just once again another car destroyed by Koreans.
We don't see how she gets home, what they do.
No, not important. It's the 80s.
But finally the fucking fundraiser scene happens, and the only act he was able to get was the band The Kicks.
Yeah, or Kicks. And they were essentially a garage band that at one point in time Smilac attempted to do something with, but then kind of just forgot about them, said, you know what, fuck it, you're not that important.
Because, like, at one point, we are never shown any indication of how this was, but at one point he was a good music manager, apparently.
Yeah, supposedly he had, like, some big names under him at one point in time before he fell on bad luck.
They referenced Madonna, and, like, you should wear skimpy underwear.
Yeah, pretty much. So, yeah.
That was his great fucking contribution to the music industry. He told Madonna to look slutty.
Yeah, pretty much. And it's a good call by all means, but
he has this garage band. This is the only band he can get for the stupid fundraiser, and of course, since these are conservative Americans. A third-rate Poison band knockoff is not going to impress them.
Yeah, totally hair metal band that, as I said, I enjoyed a lot more than Ayo did. So,
I mean, they're no Poison.
They're
no Van
not.
Halen.
They couldn't afford the Poison or Van Halen or even Twisted Sister in this movie. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, it was the closest proximity of what they could. Pretty much just think
It was
80s
a
hair
vague
band.
facsimile, if anything.
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah, that happens. It's a total disaster, and like Tanya Roberts' mother is literally out to kill him.
Yeah, pretty much like literally
She says it.
sends
She
out.
says it.
Sends
And,
out a note.
and Smilek is so afraid of them that he hides by going in drag.
Yep, dressing in full out drag, except not shaving his legs.
Well, he has pantyhose on.
Yeah, some hose on, but yeah.
And I must say, Dirk Benedict
Yep.
has very nice legs.
He does, and would have had nice breasts as well. The way they stuffed that bra on,
Yeah.
it wasn't
Who was
bad.
No.
Like if you didn't look
yeah.
at the face, I mean, it was
I mean,
very
They should have at least attempted some makeup, but
agreed. I could have seen them playing with that idea a lot more. I mean, but nonetheless. So
yeah.
yeah. So needless to say, now we're actually getting to where we're getting our first literal bit of wrestling out of this whole fucking movie, like 45 minutes into it. A movie called Body Slam that hasn't shown any wrestling up until now.
No. Oh, well, except Captain Lou threw Smilek over the rope.
Yeah, but that was a cheap work. This one, we're actually getting...
Yeah. We're actually getting like wrestling.
Yeah, Roddy Piper and Tonga Tom are going to be having a nice wrestling match. Just a standard thing. They got set up. Smilek meets him in the back. They do a couple little funny things about him being dressed in drag, which obviously they're also...
I have to say, like, compared to like how masculine wrestling is looked at, Roddy Piper and Tonga Tom were pretty chill about it.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, do what you got to do. I mean,
Yeah,
they weren't too bothered by
I
it.
really liked. They were great baby faces.
Exactly, and we all appreciate that. But the big surprise is that Roddy Piper and Tonga Tom are not going to be facing the regular tag team people they were going to. They're actually going to have to be, at last minute notice, fighting the Cannibals.
Yeah, last minute change in the card. This is what we call a swerve in the wrestling lingo.
I'll take your word
That's
for it. I haven't
when
heard that one.
that's when a plot takes an unexpected turn,
Okay.
and usually for the worse for the good guys, the faces.
Good times. So yeah, needless to say, not only do the Cannibals come out with Captain Lou, they come out with chains around their neck.
And Captain Lou dragging them.
Exactly. It's really hot BDSM. It also, once again, proves that they're totally fucking.
And they're so into it. I love it.
Yeah.
Like, they're supposed to be like this terrible heels, but I love them.
They're pretty great. Their overacting is not so much that you can't get into it, but just enough to where it brings a smile to your face.
Like, it's perfect for wrestling.
Exactly. They are obviously wrestlers because they're playing the part perfectly. I'd say even more so than Roddy Piper.
Well, I mean, they're faces. That's a whole different skill set.
Yeah, very true. So yeah, needless to say, they come to the ring with the chains. They start beating the ever-loving hell out of Roddy Piper.
Well, I mean, they start out by just knocking out the referee.
Yeah, that's the best way to
Knocking
start.
him cold.
When you're going to be beating people
And
with chains.
nobody stops the match.
No, I mean, even back in the 80s, there weren't these like hardcore matches where people are throwing each other on thumbtacks and shit like that. Like, it was very rare that you ran into a situation of like just full out beating the shit out of people with
You
weapons.
would get a folding chair once in a while.
Exactly.
That was like super special.
Yeah, like once
That was
a
like,
month
oh
at
shit,
most.
all hell has broken loose. There's a folding chair in the ring.
But yeah, so yeah,
Well, they
just-
sell it so well, though.
Oh,
I have to
agreed.
give that.
Oh yeah, very very enjoyable. But yeah, they just beat the ever loving shit out of Roddy Piper and Tonga Tom, and that's pretty much
And they get color the hard way.
yeah.
That's when you bleed from actual injury.
Ah, You're throwing around a bunch of terms that I did not know you knew as much about wrestling.
Most of my wrestling knowledge comes from Video Game Championship Wrestling.
Okay, that works.
Which is a great show on Twitch.
Oh yeah, I have seen some of that. It's quite enjoyable.
And yeah, I got really into that for half a year, and then just work and stuff took over. I haven't been able to keep up, but yeah, that was a great show, and probably still is. Baza is the dude running that. He's retiring though soon. He's been doing it for 2 years. So yeah, you should check out Video Game Championship Wrestling. It's amazing. It's video game characters wrestling. It's the best of both worlds.
Exactly, and very entertaining commentary from what I saw of it.
Yeah. So yeah, they just beat the ever shit of them, and even Smilek gets hurt. That's when we lead into the hospital scene when we talked about earlier.
Yeah, where we find out that Tonga Tom is just pretty much a full-out imbecile. But
he's illiterate.
Yeah, but he's lovable.
He's in a hospital bed, and like Roddy's niece is reading to him. His arms are okay. He moves them in the scene. Like he could read the comic book.
Yeah.
So he must just be illiterate because he's not humoring the girl. He's not. Well, I mean, gotta give her something to do, might make her feel appreciated, because he is way into the story.
Super into it, yeah.
So, like, the only possible explanation is that Tonga Tom is illiterate, which, oh my God, that's so sad. I feel so bad for him.
It's very sad, but something tells me if he had a backstory, if they took the time to really give him a backstory, I'd have to imagine he was brought up in Samoa or maybe even Hawaii. As far as that goes.
Or Tonga, like his name suggests.
There's a possibility for all the above. He only knew how to fight his entire life. He didn't have time for book learning. Book learning was for those people that were going to do something with their lives. He was a natural-born fighter, so he didn't really pay attention to the whole reading and writing and arithmetic, the 3 R's of learning. He didn't have anything for. He just knew how to beat the shit out of people. And get the
Which,
shit.
of course, the guy from Tonga would be, not Roddy Piper.
Exactly. Which, by the way, in the hospital, they've got some weird contraption, which I don't think is medical in any way. That's essentially just lightly holding Roddy Piper's neck straight. It looks like a G-string. Yeah,
it's holding his chin.
Yeah, it looks like a G-string around his chin, holding him up.
And it makes him talk like this. I think it was done for comedy.
Probably so, but he's still
hilarious stuff.
Exactly, but both of them are still in very high spirits.
If you wouldn't know better, it's like Hal Needham has no background in comedy other than Smokey and the Bandit, and it was actually a stunt coordinator when he started out.
No, that is very true. He's done more stunts than he's done movies. So yeah,
So I'm pretty much guessing that the Smokey and the Bandit comedy just all came from Burt Reynolds.
Probably so, and Dom DeLuise and some of the others.
Yeah, and like the actors there, they were in charge of that.
I can imagine
because like so many jokes in this are just fall so flat.
They do, but to me there's a certain kitschiness about it. It is an 80s movie, and some of the over the top silliness you can only get in an 80s movie. As far as that goes, I mean, they just don't do anything that silly anymore. That feels authentic, really.
I don't know. It feels authentic like a failure, but
hey, come on now.
Yeah, he has this stupid thing around his chin, which makes him sound funny.
Yep.
So yeah, like they're hurt. So Smilek, for like the first time in the movie. This is like just after he kills a disabled person, and
it helps the muse killing disabled people.
Yeah, and I think a few scenes before that, he was getting out of his new car because he was making so much money off these wrestlers. He's fucking fleecing.
Yep.
He gets out of the car, and this like female jogger in spandex runs by. He says, like, nice car. And he waits until she is out of earshot and says, nice ass.
Which, to be 100% fair, She did have a nice ass.
Yeah, but she's out of earshot. Why? Come on.
Well, he's already in pain, and she could have probably beat the shit out of him. So she's he didn't have to say it, but the fact that he did just shows once again, yeah, he's
how
a big
much
piece
of an
shit.
unrelenting asshole he is.
Yeah, but you know,
For some reason, because like, oh, people that I care about, like you two, my wrestlers are getting hurt. I'm quitting. Like this feels so out of character because he has never shown he's just been shown to be fleecing these guys.
yeah, exactly. To me, the way I read it was, I've gotten my ass kicked too many times, so I'm quitting.
Yeah,
but I'm gonna make it seem like I'm a super awesome guy. So, you guys got beat up, and that's horrible. I don't want to have anything to do with this at all. So yeah, but yeah, for the most part, he does that, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Tonga Tom and Roddy Piper get better quickly.
Yeah, well, I mean, like the whole timeline for this movie is just all over the place.
It's out of whack.
It could take place over 3 years or 3 months.
Or even a few days, really.
Yeah.
The montages later really aren't specific enough.
Oh God. Okay, so he's like, oh, there's nothing we could do. Like when I was in the music biz, what we used to do was like go on the road and play small places to get nowhere. And then he gets the brilliant idea of taking the Kicks and the tag team on the road and like do a rock show at one place and a wrestling match at another place.
Exactly. Make double the money off of pretty much something that he can bring 2 different shows with him, save cash, ultimately in the long run, make a whole shit ton of money.
Yep. So, like they do that, and the second half of this movie is 70% montage.
Yeah, it really is.
Like, it's basically, at this moment, we're probably 2/3 through the movie, at best.
That's fair, yeah.
And the rest of my notes are like, I have 3 notes left, because it's all just montages.
Yeah, it's montage on top of montage on top of montage, but there's a couple little cute things. I mean, one of the first places they go is like somewhere in backwoods, like Alabama or Arkansas or something like that.
It's something very Southern fried, should we say.
Exactly. So they go there, and come to find out, the promoter at wherever this place is out in the country has actually booked something instead of where they were going to have the rock band play. So they've got the wrestling thing set up, but the rock band doesn't have a time to play anymore because they have a pig auction that's going to be going on in that time, and there was obviously some mix-ups whenever that went through.
Yeah, of course, because it's in the South. Of course, they're auctioning pigs.
Of course, because you need to eat pigs. It's good for you. But no, so yeah, needless to say, it's at this point in time to where he's like, well, we just don't have any time. You can't possibly have another show tomorrow. He's like, well, then obviously at that point in time, he realizes, what could I do to make even more money and get this issue taken care of? Let's do rock and wrestling.
Well, that's the whole point I'm kind of confused about. Wouldn't you make more money if you have 2 shows than 1 show?
Theoretically, I can't imagine adding just a band playing right before people fight each other, giving you more money than 2 entirely separate shows. And in all honesty,
yeah, I mean, it's a draw. It's a draw. Like, oh, there's a rock show. I mean, I wouldn't think that the Venn diagram for rock fans and wrestling fans would be that close together.
Yeah. I mean, maybe to a certain extent. Maybe metalheads more so.
At least for 80s hair metal.
True. That's very true. I mean, just like having them play with all the crazy conservative people. It's ridiculous. I mean, the whole premise is definitely ridiculous. I'll give it that. But yeah.
So the premise of the wrestling match is that Roddy Piper and Tonga Tom, Oh, we haven't even said Roddy Piper's name in this movie. He's Quick.
Yeah, he has a name, but I just hadn't really paid attention to it.
But yeah, it's so just Roddy Piper. It's Quick. Oh, God damn it.
It's Quick
It was
Rick.
Quick something. Quick Rick.
Yeah, it was Quick Rick Roberts.
Yeah, Quick Rick Roberts. Which is Roddy Piper. Quick Rick Roberts.
Might as well.
But yeah, so yeah, I feel bad for calling Roddy Piper, but calling Sam Fatu Tonka Top.
But that's the funny thing is what you were getting to is what they're doing with the wrestling part of it isn't even a wrestling show. It's come down here and try to pin our wrestling guys and you'll get $1,000. And it's like, really? It's like people pay to go see that, to go do that? I guess so, but it just doesn't sound appealing. Like, you're not going to see a wrestling match. You're going to see essentially a backyard brawl to where you're getting two totally...
Like, this is more of a story of how backyard wrestling started than rock and roll wrestling.
Pretty much. Because, needless to say, they go to this place once Smilac realizes, oh, this is the most amazing thing ever. Rock and wrestling. It'll blow up and become the biggest thing ever, which oddly enough it does in the movie. But that's beside the point. They go to this same hillbilly town. They have the band play. I forget which song it was. It wasn't one that I liked as much as the...
It's something nobody's ever heard.
Look, we're coming up to the song I really do like, and we'll talk about that in a second. But no, so essentially the band plays, and they're like, oh, okay, anybody who can pin Roddy Piper or Fatu gets $1,000. So, of course, they say, oh, well, we're going to get one of our local country boys, and little skinny Pete comes out, and he's essentially like a 90-pound wet...
No, Pee-wee Pete.
Pee-wee Pete, yeah. Comes out...
He's like stereotypical nerd.
Yeah, very skinny, like lanky nerd who comes out
with
and
glasses.
They cut back and like, oh, look at this kid. And then, of course, they call for his brother, who is an incredibly large gentleman. I'd say probably pushing 400 to 450 pounds, who's wearing suspenders and like a lumberjack flannel shirt.
Yeah. He's very southern, should we say.
Incredibly. Big, massive beard as well, which I happen to notice. Essentially they go at it. This is like just a quick little migration away from a few more montages before we get to the main event.
Yeah, it's literally this scene and then a bunch of montages. And the end scene.
Yep, pretty much. Come to find out, this whole rock and wrestling thing, this must have been going on for a long period of time now that we're talking about the time frame thing, because it gets so big that Rolling Stone magazine wants to interviews Smilac and the wrestlers.
I mean, that's sort of the thing that made it blew up big time.
Yeah, exactly. Once that actually came through, somehow we found out about it, and then it becomes the biggest thing, and they got a shit ton of money, and they're essentially cross-country in an RV, or at first they start in a shitty school bus, and then they can afford an RV because they're making a shit ton of money, and then... might as well get to the finale because you're right. It is only montages in between that. And there.
It's really only montages up until that point.
Yeah.
Though I was going to point something out. So they get to the final scene. The managers get called back to that show.
Of course.
And Smilac sort of tricks Lou into like having a rematch between Roddy Piper and Sam Fatu and the Cannibals.
Yep.
And like the belt is on the line and the contracts are on the line and everything is on the line. And
yeah, if they lose, they have to come back to you, to Captain Lou, as their manager.
And if Captain Lou loses, he has to quit wrestling management.
Exactly. So it's typical wrestling stuff.
All of the states. No, stakes. All of the stakes.
Very high.
He tricks him into having this wrestling match, and basically tricks him Like
Yeah.
he just gets him mad enough to say, "Oh fuck yeah."
And by the way, the little person is there again, and he's still very homophobic.
Yeah, still calling him a faggot.
Yeah.
Which, although the little person with the sign is not there again.
No, unfortunately not. I'm kind of curious what happened to him. He finally got beat up by some homosexuals.
Yeah,
he went to the wrong
burly
show.
Bears just came out. Like, I heard you like calling people faggots.
Oh, I want to see his backstory. But so yeah, of course,
Okay.
the big main event's coming up.
And Smilek arrives at the arena, and of course the Korean guy and his Samoan bodyguards show up for one last time. And by this point, he has a shit ton of money. He could just settle with them.
Oh, he totally could.
But no, he chooses to be an asshole and continue to talk about Japan to this Korean man.
Exactly, because he knows they're kind of one note. Like what they do is they come there, they threaten them, and whenever they can't do anything, they trash a car. Yeah. So this time he actually happens to be standing by Captain Lou's, which I think is a Rolls Royce, an amazing looking car, by the way.
Yeah.
So he stands by that car and saying, "Oh no, you definitely can't mess with my car this time, and I know you definitely won't mess with my car." And so yeah, needless to say, they don't even do anything to the car this time because that car's so fucking expensive. They actually take out the jaws of life, like what they do to use to open up the top of cars to get people out after accidents, and they just show them putting a pipe into it and crushing the pipe because they literally didn't want to ruin that car because it was too expensive.
And like a news anchor is outside and is like, "This is like the Super Bowl, Academy Awards, and Grammys all rolled into one." It's like, dude, take it easy on the hyperbole.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
it's
that's
a wrestling match. Sure, it's big, but come on.
Well, you know, that's how every wrestling thing is. This is going to be the match of the century type thing. And they're going to do this. They're going to say the exact same shit in like 2 months. Oh, this is going to be the match of the century.
And then, of course, the final match happens. Everything's on the line. Of course, they win.
Of course.
Like, there's no sense of tension or anything.
No, not at all.
During this scene.
Yeah, the last time they got their asses absolutely handed to them, and this time it's back and forth for a couple minutes. But honestly,
the wrestling is good, though, I have to say, especially in this scene.
Well, I mean, the whole thing is they did have wrestlers, so that was a good idea, so they didn't have to do stuntmen or anything like that. Yeah, I mean, it was solid. I mean, it was like watching a wrestling match. So, yeah, it felt right. And then the, that was when they were in the hillbilly town, is Smilak got the kick the group to start playing to give them energy, kind of like how Hulk Hogan used to get the fans yelling to give him energy to where he could fight back. But yeah, this time, the good guys win and freeze frame ending.
Oh yeah, the freeze frame ending, of course. We forgot to mention that like the John Madden talk show host guy is there, and with him as color commentator is the little manager.
Yeah.
The little person manager.
I don't think says faggot that time.
No, but he does beat the shit out of John Madden for doing a midget joke.
Yeah, he finally he got to the point to where he just couldn't take it anymore and just literally wails on the fucking guy with his cane.
But yeah, my favorite thing about, like, we get no sort of resolution of almost any kind to the Tanya Roberts plot.
Oh, not at all. It's just
like he's been away for months and months.
Yep. And he did contact her at one point in time. He showed up.
He sent her a couple of postcards.
Exactly. And showed up at her mother's house with flowers. With flowers in front of him and doing a very kind of racist Hispanic accent. Like, I have flowers for Mrs. Vanderbilt. And so
Van der
Wagen, yeah. And they meet up and they kiss and everything is hunky dory, and that's like, the end of it.
You were gone for like months. And
it had
you're
to have been
telling me
months.
that like this smoking hot rich chick doesn't have like dudes falling over her left and right.
This is
and
like the chick that would
somehow
be banging
she
Bruce
likes
Wayne.
Yeah, she fucking likes M. Harry Smilac.
Yeah, the biggest piece of shit in Hollywood, California. So yeah, it makes no sense. It was forced. I have no idea why they did it. Probably just because they could get her is the main thing. It's like, oh well, we got to put her in there somewhere.
Oh, it's a movie. It's got to have a romantic interest. That's what movies do.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like, so we have access to Tanya Roberts. What are we going to do with her? Script guy, go put her in there. Yeah. So yeah. And that was pretty much it. I will fully openly admit, it was not as enjoyable as I remember it being.
Okay.
It's been years since I watched it. But I still think it has that, like, without a care 80s attitude to it. It's like, so the world is so awesome that we have these tiny little problems.
And yeah, like rock and roll wrestling was a thing they tried to do, wasn't it?
I believe so.
I mean, there was that like I mentioned, the moment in time where Captain Lou was all of a sudden Cyndi Lauper's dad or something.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Cyndi Lauper was in one of the WrestleManias, and Captain
They
Lou
tried
was...
to do the whole rock and roll wrestling. It was not as much of a success as in this movie.
No, I mean, I do remember when I still watched wrestling a good, 10 years ago, to where they would occasionally have a band out, like, if somebody was big, like, they were just starting to market, like, CDs. Like, we're going to sell the CDs for the wrestlers' intro music, and we'll have the actual band come out, and, like, I think it was Motorhead that did, like, Triple H's theme or something like that. They had Motorhead out one time to actually perform live in between wrestling matches. So, yeah, theoretically, this is something they have done.
But yeah,
since.
it's not the fucking main attraction.
No, not at all. It's not like people go for that.
It's a nice, it's a nice side dish. But,
Yeah.
It's never going to be, fucking rock and wrestling?
At the
Sign
same
me up.
time? Oh, my God.
So, yeah. After this and I forgot what yeah, after this and Body Bags
Yeah.
and Freak, then I think we need to heighten the brow a bit. So for our next episode, it's my pick. I am going to pick the French-produced, still though in English, 1969 film Mr. Freedom.
This movie looks amazing.
Yes, this is a highly political satire directed by American photographer William Klein, who is still mostly known as a fashion photographer.
Okay. I did not know that.
Yeah, he did, and he did a lot of Vogue. And since then he has done a lot of documentaries, and like Mr. Freedom is only one of 4 feature films he has done.
Interesting.
So it's a very interesting movie, especially visually, but there are, like I said, I'm not going to get too much into it, but I think it's an amazing film, and it inspired the look of both Rock the House music video for Gorillaz and Sex Laws by Beck.
Both
If
great
you
songs.
remember those music videos, that's where they got that look from.
Yeah, I'm taking a look at just the synopsis for it. Mr. Freedom is a pro-American right superhero who fights for God and country by beating, robbing, raping, and killing anyone who looks like they might disagree with him.
So yeah, William Klein didn't much care for America. He basically exiled himself in 1960s, in the 60s, yeah.
Yeah. I've seen a trailer for this before, thanks to you, and I'm absolutely really looking forward to watching this one. I think it's going to be a bit of a departure from what we have been watching over the past few weeks. But
I think it still very much tonally fits because, like, yes, it's highbrow. It's very fashion forward, but the
Really over the top.
satire itself is so over the top and just brutal that
Oh, yeah.
it totally fits in.
Very awesome. So yeah, definitely look forward to next week when we watch Mr. Freedom. Until then, plug the hell out of your music, kind sir, please.
Oh yeah, so yeah, as I said in the beginning, some call me Death Turner because that's the name of my project I'm doing. It's on SoundCloud. It's music. It's synthwave. It's 80s. It's cool.
It's
if you
very
like,
enjoyable.
Yes, if you like the music from Kung Fury, Hotline Miami, that sort of stuff, please go check it out. You might like it. Get a SoundCloud. It's a good service. They have lots and lots of cool indie artists. It's and it doesn't cost a thing, and you can stream it from your phone, whatever, man.
Exactly. Definitely go check it out. I've definitely been enjoying it. As far as me, I am taking a hiatus with my other current podcast, the Shattered Movie Podcast, and working on something a little bit new, something a little bit different. Stay tuned to shattered.media to check out all the goodness that will be coming up with that. And make sure to check out all the other shows that we have on our podcasting feed as well. And until next time.
Oh yeah. Also, I'm on the upcoming episode of Tales from the Fic where we covered Harry Potter. So if you want to hear me talking a bullshit British accent, should listen to that.
I'm definitely looking forward to it myself. So cool. Yeah, definitely make sure to check out that and check out all the other good stuff. And until next time, you have been watching Cinema Grotesque.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.